So to finish that sentence, yeah, the evildoers would be in an absolute uproar if the cost of living ever begins to decline and your currency, your money, begins to be worth more. We need a competing fiat currency. That should be the demand on Trump. Because he's proven to be a useless, feckless, pustule excuse for a president, just like all the others that we've had for so long. Okay, that haven't really done anything, gone for the jugular. Okay, confronted the juggernaut, the Federal Reserve Bank. We, the people, demand a competing fiat currency. We're sick and tired. A chest full of gold coins. And you have these gold-eating rats. And you had no recourse. You couldn't stop them. Bait, poison, traps. Nothing would stop these critters. You couldn't trap them. You had no recourse. You were helpless. They were just going to sit there and gnaw away, eat away at your value, at what you had, your treasure. And for us, it's the fiat money. That's what they're doing. That's what these people are, gold-eating rats. Because all we've got is this one, a monopoly on the fiat currency, right? Dollars. We all use dollars. And that's a generic term anyhow, because we could have dollars. JFK was issuing new dollars. U.S. Treasury notes, silver certificates, silver notes. They look just about like Federal Reserve notes, but these were another kind of dollar. That's what we need. Put the idiots out of business, these a-hole monsters. But is Trump doing that? That should be the demand on Trump. So that's one thing we can do against the tyrants. Unify, and in one voice, we make demand. That's our demand. We want sound economic policies. We want sound money, damn it. That could be our demand. And act. You got to make an impression any way you can. I mean, you say, well, that's a white lie. I really didn't feel that passionate about it. Act. Do it for somebody else. Pay it forward, man. Remember, what is one man's nominal fee, okay, is another man's onerous cost, price, burden. So when the rent goes up on your house $100 or something, and a lot of people, hey, I can afford that. I can't afford to buy a house, but I can afford that easily. But to somebody else, that's a straw that broke the camel's back. They're out there under the bridge. That's the reality. Even though we're spending $50 billion a year on this Section 8 housing, we, the taxpayers, we got to rent people houses. I'm a fiscal conservative. We're too damn stupid to know the difference between renting and owning. They won't let us buy people houses. Oh, that's just too liberal. So that the problem is solved, you're done and done. Once you pay, but no, we got to pay to rent in perpetuity. We got to pay to rent people houses. $50 billion a year, every year. But no, you can't buy it and then be done and done, and then put that $50 billion in your pockets, taxpayers. No, we're not going to allow that. So they call themselves fiscal conservatives. They're a bunch of freaking a-holes. They sicken me. I mean, you see the frustration on my face. I mean, this is what it comes from. It's not the organic suffering. It's across the board. We all have to endure that. And you've got to have an answer for the unbelievers, the atheists out there. You got to tell them, well, what do you mean, God? There's loving, all-powerful God. How come he's such an a-hole? Why does he let evil people rule the world? Why does he let this bitter cold and this punishing heat happen and the natural disasters and on and on and on? You've got to have something good. You've got to have a comeback for these people, and that's it. But I'm complaining about the inorganic, invented, artificial suffering, which is wholly unnecessary, but it's a glaring reality. The burden that just keeps on growing and growing and growing, like the hamster, and the wheel gets harder and harder to turn. Not only is you just spinning your wheels, okay, but no, you got to spin wheels that get harder and harder and harder, and as they steal more and more, they can't control themselves. They got a sugar high. They're drunk on the blood of the saints. And they just, they can't stop themselves, so they need to be parented. But they act like they're the parents. They're in charge, or we're the leaders, and all this crap. And making our lives very miserable and burdensome. And even if it's not happening to you directly, it'll catch up to you. We've got a shriveling minority of homeowners in California. And that's going to spread across the country. I mean, how does it feel to be a shriveling minority? That if you are a homeowner in California, okay, you're a dying breed. pretty soon they're just going to buy up everything, and it's only going to be for rent, like a motel, one big giant motel here. Yeah, you just work your ass off. You're gonna live in a walk-in closet practically, and maybe they'll start shoving their own stuff in there too. Say, well, you got to share it now. It's just supply and demand. This is just the way it is, right? When it's all just made up shortages. There's no shortage. There's a huge superfluity, a huge excess, a huge abundance of everything, housing included. About 14 years ago, I did my own research on this. I found out you could house, at that time when we had tons of homelessness, just like we do now, you could house every homeless man, woman, and child in America and still have 90% of the vacant, available housing left over. That's housing that's either for rent or for sale. And that does not include hotels and motels. Do you understand how absurd, how preposterous, how ridiculous the situation is that we're tolerating here? How you're being tyrannized and what can be done about it? Speak truth to power. Speak truth to anybody that'll listen. Educate people. Empower them. Bring them out of Babylon, out of confusion, out of ignorance. And I don't know what to say about those people that are willfully ignorant, that prescribe to an ignorance is bliss philosophy. I feel sorry for you on Judgment Day, the day of reckoning, because your beliefs are not going to hold water. Your opinions are not going to hold water. Okay? Your credos and precepts and philosophies are not going to hold waters. Are not going to hold water. Okay? And you're going to get judged. You're going to squeak into hell, and that's what I'm trying to prevent here. I don't want anybody's blood on my hands or head because I was silent. I said, well, I know everything. I'm really smart, but I'm not going to share it. I'm going to keep it to myself. I'm not going to share this very informative information with people, very empowering information, so that they can hold their own with anybody on these subjects and be educated and understand what's going on here, how you're being duped, how this tyranny happened, okay, and what dire straits we're in. Realize it. We're on the brink of some, as Americans, man, we have an obligation to stand up. All the people around the world are looking at us. They're counting on us to stand up against these tyrants and do everything we can to affect change, to extricate ourselves from the maws of this beast system, because the walls are closing in and these people don't have control of themselves. They're drunk. Okay, they're power drunk. Freaks. Monsters for all intents and purposes. That don't value the same things that the righteous, decent, upright people value. Conscience, integrity, and honor. They don't care. Those things are foolishness to them because they're perishing. These are people that would rather rule in hell than serve in heaven. So when you squeak into hell, you know who's going to be running your lives down there. All these top evil politicians that are sold out to Satan as a metaphor, to evil goings on, to believing in inequality and believing that's right. Look into the Rosicrucians. That's what they believe. They believe they build this dynasty and then they're going to be born back into it. They believe in reincarnation. Do you understand? They may not, it may be on a subliminal, semi-subconscious level. They never talk about it. But you see, that's how deranged they are, how delusional they are. They think they get to choose how God is. And they reject the one true God, the owner of the universe and everything contained there, and the almighty creator God, okay, the only true God. And they gravitate to the one they choose to believe, which is just a nebulous spirit, this satanic spirit that they're on board with. Do you understand how evil the days are? And people got to get it. How these people have this huge advantage and how they've been getting away with it. They don't value the things you do as a normal person that's trying to have godly values. They want money and the things that come with the money, the power and the control. They don't want to work. They want you to do the work. These are slave drivers. People talk about being born free because you're born in that's a bunch of crap. You were born without a cost of living unless you were. Okay? You weren't born free if you're not financially free. That's reserved for the elitists, these same people I'm talking about. They think they're better than you, smarter than you, more deserving. That's why they have the privilege. And they need that exclusive privilege. The last thing they want is universal prosperity. Then they've got no advantage. That's obvious. I mean, why wouldn't they want everybody prosperous if the system works fine? When God gets his way, how that horrible, oh my God, that's the worst thing in the world. They're evil. So I'm wondering what I should title this video today. I could go with getting comfortable with an acute paradox, because that's what it is. So on one hand, the believers are called on to be the most joy-filled people out there, the freest, the happiest people, because they're trusting in God, okay, for their deliverance. On the other hand, they still have to contend with this monetary-based unreality that's been shoved down our throats from birth. So we all are compelled to feed the beast, because if we don't, the implications, the ramifications are dire. I mean, you're going to be under the bridge. You're going to perish. I mean, you can't even get free health care. I mean, you don't have an address. You can't afford mail service. I mean, you got nothing. If you lose it all, you got nothing. Okay? So essentially, that's it. They just, the idea is, well, look, if you're a weak link in the chain of humanity, then you should just perish. That's what the evildoers, that's what that's the unspoken reality of our society in the 21st century. That's it. I mean, we got plenty of strong links. We're bringing in immigrants all the time. Hey, if you don't want all the immigrants in the world, you're just mean. You're incompassionate. All this attention every day on the mainstream, they're talking about how mean you are if you don't want all the immigrants in the world. These are refugees. My God, there's gangs and thugs taking over their houses, and they've got drought because of climate change. That you bad people, you bad Americans, because you're heating and cooling your house and driving your cars, you're causing their problems. So welcome them in. All these people that say, oh, population is bad and all this, but, Chamber of Communists, Commerce, Freudian slip, they want everybody in the world to come in because it's good for business. These are consumers, right? They need everything from loans to toilet paper. So that's going to be good for the economy. So they're propping up a failed economy with these, and they're bringing in these young, strong immigrants, displacing the weak, older workers. And then, hey, go die under the bridge. If you can't make it, there's no more Section 8 money, or else there wouldn't be any homelessness, right? Because that money is to subsidize people that can't afford their housing costs. So logically speaking, prima facie, of course there's no more. Don't expect any housing money. Don't expect any help with your housing costs. Just go die. Put a bullet through your brain. See, it's unspoken, but that's the inference from this reality that we're tolerating. Every day we're talking poor immigrants, all this separation, the children, the family. Oh my God, heavens to Betsy. How horrible, you bad. America is a land of, oh, you're horrible if you don't want everybody to come in here. You're terrible. I personally, I'm no xenophobe. I welcome the whole world to come into America. I mean that. But in an orderly fashion, first come, first serve. We've got our own native-born American citizens, our sons and daughters are dying out in the cold. Well, I got to listen to this crap every day. The attention's all going to them. But all these people have been living homeless all this time. We got all these giant encampments in L.A. Are they transmitting images of this down to these Latin American countries? Say, you want to come to America? This is how you're going to be living. Feces on the streets of San Francisco, junkies shooting up. You want to come to America? Come on. Are they doing that? You understand how I get ticked off at the propaganda machine, how it operates? Making a mountain out of a molehill and turning a molehill into a mountain? Divert your attention, distract you, divide you, discombobulate you, disempower you, keep you stupid. It's worked good for a long time. It's been very effective. Are you going to let it continue, or are you going to be smart? Are you going to wake up, be enlightened, and start enlightening other people, empowering people? So we unify, come against these monsters as one unified, unstoppable force. We, the people, have demands. We want a new competing fiat currency because we're capitalists. We're true, real capitalists, damn it. Give us a choice. We insist on seeking happiness. It's a responsibility. It goes far beyond our right. And in order to be happy, we need to be free. And we're going the opposite direction. We want prosperity. Not for some, but for everybody. Every job is important. Don't feed me a load of crap. See, they create all these jobs, so many, the vast majority of jobs now in society revolve around the problems continuing, like the national